Welcome to a professional roast of our own existence. I'm your host, and today we're diving into something that, logically speaking, shouldn't even exist. The time before time began, humans are a peculiar species. We stress over mortgage payments and whether our ex is doing better than us, yet we spend billions of dollars building massive tunnels, large Hadron Colliders, just to ask, what was there before the Big Bang? It's like trying to ask what you were doing before your parents met. The most honest answer? You weren't anything. You weren't even an idea. But physicists, those professional party poopers, have answers that will make you wish you just stayed worried about your rent. Buckle up, because we're traveling back 13.8 billion years. Piercing through the wall, science calls absolute ignorance to see what nothingness actually looks like. 1. The infinite singularity, where math gives up. In 1927, Georges Lemaitre, a priest and physicist, a rare blend of faith and equations, realized the universe was expanding. If you rewind this tape far enough, everything shrinks. Every galaxy, every black hole, every piece of space junk, and the phone you're holding right now gets crushed into a point smaller than a subatomic particle. Scientists call this the singularity. It sounds sophisticated, but in reality, singularity is just a fancy way of saying, our math died here. At this point, density is infinite, and temperature is infinite. When you plug infinity into Einstein's equations, they start spitting out nonsensical results. This wall is known as the Planck time, $10, negative $43 seconds after the Big Bang. Before that, modern physics simply doesn't exist. Asking what came before the Big Bang in this context is like asking, what is north of the North Pole? It's not a question of space. It's a glitch in the logic of language. You cannot go further than the beginning of the concept of direction. It's comforting to know our entire civilization is built on a theory that self-destructs at the exact moment it matters most, right? 2. Eternal inflation. A glitch in the cosmic soap Suds. Andre Linde didn't care for the silence of the singularity. He proposed something that sounds like a nightmare for anyone with trypophobia: eternal inflation. Imagine the entirety of reality is a massive, infinite field of soap suds expanding faster than the speed of light. In this eternal foam, random quantum jitters cause tiny patches to stop inflating and settle down. Each of these stabilized bubbles becomes a universe. Our Big Bang? It was just the moment our specific bubble, let's call it Universe 1A, stopped screaming and started existing. The unsettling part is that inflation never stops everywhere else. It's still churning out trillions of other bubble universes right now. Most of them are physical scrap heaps, places where gravity is so strong everything collapses instantly, or where atoms can't even form. We aren't the crown of creation. We are a statistical fluke, a random lucky break in a soulless, chaotic universe-making machine. We exist because out of an infinite number of broken bubbles, one of them happened to be slightly less broken than the rest. We are the oops that survived. 3. The cyclic universe, the ultimate recycling trap. If you hate repetitive tasks, Paul Steinhardt and Neil Turok's hypothesis will make you want to quit existence entirely. Drawing from string theory, they suggest our universe is the result of a collision between two membranes, brains, floating in a higher dimension. When these two brains smack into each other, boom, Big Bang. The energy released creates matter, stars, and eventually, us. But then, the brains drift apart. The universe expands, cools, and dies in the lonely embrace of entropy. But wait! The game isn't over. Gravity across that higher dimension eventually pulls them back together. Another smash, another Big Bang, another cycle. Every trillion years, the universe resets. The terrifying part? No information survives the collision. Every achievement, every love story, every grand empire, and every bit of knowledge we've ever gathered is ground back into raw energy to feed the next generation of people in the next cycle who will also live and die without ever knowing we existed. We are living in a cosmic washing machine, and the spin cycle is eventually coming for us all. 4. Quantum vacuum fluctuations. An itch in the void. Edward Tryon once famously remarked, "The universe is just one of those things that happens from time to time. In the quantum world, nothing isn't actually empty. A vacuum is a boiling battlefield of virtual particles popping in and out of existence. According to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, energy can be borrowed from the void as long as it's paid back almost instantly. The more energy you borrow, the faster you have to return it. But here's the kicker. What if the total energy of the entire universe is exactly zero? If you balance the positive energy of matter against the negative energy of gravity, they might cancel each other out perfectly. If the net energy is zero, you can borrow it from the void and never have to pay it back. Our universe might just be a quantum itch, a random fluctuation that emerged from absolute mathematical nothingness and somehow failed to vanish. It means reality required no cause, no creator, and no purpose. It's just a cosmic accident that forgot to stop happening. And if it could pop into existence for no reason, it could unpop just as easily. 5. Black hole genesis. Parasites in the beast. Leesmolen brings a dark biological twist to cosmology with his theory of cosmological natural selection. He suggests that every time a massive star collapses into a black hole, a new universe is sparked at its core, a baby universe on the other side of the singularity. In this scenario, our universe is actually the interior of a black hole residing in a mother universe. The chilling part? Universes that possess physical constants favorable for making black holes will reproduce more often. We happen to live in a universe that allows stars and black holes to form, which is why we're here. But this implies that the goal of the universe isn't to support life or consciousness, it's to manufacture black holes. Humans are just chemical parasites, a useless byproduct growing in the crevices of a massive, indifferent black hole breeding machine. We aren't the protagonists of the story. We're just the mold growing on the gears of the cosmic engine. 6. Conformal cyclic cosmology. Ghosts of dead aeons. Sir Roger Penrose, a Nobel laureate, so at least we know he's not just hallucinating, proposed a theory called conformal cyclic cosmology. He suggests that the universe doesn't just have one history, it has aeons. When our universe gets extremely old, every star has burned out, every proton has decayed, and every black hole has evaporated through Hawking radiation. At that point, the universe is filled only with massless photons. Here is the mind-bending part. For a particle with no mass, time and scale do not exist. To a photon, the infinitely large, cold, empty graveyard of an old universe is mathematically identical to the infinitely small, hot, dense point of a new Big Bang. The end of one aeon becomes the cradle for the next. Penrose even claims to have found Hawking points in our cosmic microwave background. Circular scars left by supermassive black hole collisions from the previous universe. We are literally living on the ashes of a grand ancestor, looking at the sky and seeing the ghosts of a reality that died trillions of years before we were even a possibility. 7. The holographic universe. A 2D glitch in 3D. Imagine you are a character in a 3D video game, but in reality, all your data sits on a flat 2D silicon chip. The holographic principle suggests that our entire three-dimensional experience is just a projection. Some theorists propose that the Big Bang wasn't an explosion, but a projection event. A four-dimensional star in a higher dimensional reality collapsed into a black hole, and its information got stuck on a three-dimensional event horizon, which is us. Every object you touch, every person you love, is essentially a high-definition hologram encoded on a thin shell at the edge of the observable universe. Before the Big Bang, that was the moment the 4D star began its death throes. We aren't autonomous beings. We are digital shadows dependent on the stability of a higher dimensional catastrophe we can't even perceive. If the projector in that 4D reality fails, or the black hole evaporates, we don't just die, we cease to be encoded. The screen goes black, and there's no game over screen because there was never a game to begin with. 8. The mathematical universe, where suffering is a formula. Max Tegmark takes the most extreme stance of all. He argues that the universe isn't just described by math, the universe is math. In this view, every mathematically consistent structure must exist as a physical reality somewhere. Asking what happened before the Big Bang is like asking what number comes before 0 in the set of natural numbers. It's simply a position in an eternal logical structure. The horrifying implication here is that if every mathematical possibility exists, then there are universes where the laws of physics allow for eternal suffering without the mercy of death. There are realities where consciousness is trapped in horrific logical loops simply because the math doesn't forbid it. We are lucky enough to inhabit a formula that allows for a bit of joy and an eventual end. But somewhere in the platonic landscape of all possible realities, versions of consciousness are being tortured by cold, hard logic for no reason other than the fact that they are mathematically valid. 9. The simulation boot sequence. Hello world. If Nick Bostrom is correct, we are living in a computer simulation run by a post-human civilization. In this framework, the Big Bang was nothing more than a power-on button. The initial conditions, the precise values of gravity, and the density of matter were just input parameters set before execution. What existed before the Big Bang? It was the moment the admins decided to hit start. Maybe they were arguing about the settings. Hey, let's cap the speed of light so they can't leave their solar system too easily, or let's see what happens if we give them a sense of existential dread. Everything we hold sacred the formation of galaxies. The evolution of life could be a graduate student's thesis project in a higher reality. The truly nightmarish part is knowing what happens to simulations once the data is collected. They get deleted. The Big Bang was the start of universe.exe, and we're all just waiting for the system to crash. 10. Absolute nothingness. The ultimate silence. Finally, we arrive at the most disturbing answer of all, the one that makes every human effort seem utterly ridiculous. Before the Big Bang, there was absolutely nothing. But you have to grasp what nothing really means here. It wasn't a dark, quiet room. It wasn't a vast, empty void. It was the total absence of space to hold matter and the absence of time for anything to happen. It was a state where even the concept of state didn't exist. Physicist Lawrence Krauss argues that our universe could have emerged from exactly this. Quantum laws allow for something to pop into existence from nothingness without a cause, without a creator, and without a point. The Big Bang wasn't a choice, it was a transition. The philosophical weight of true nothingness is the loneliest thought imaginable. If nothing was the precursor, then there is no deeper layer, no parent universe, and no grand plan. We are a lone accident, a flash of light between two infinite voids of non-existence. Everything we've ever built, every person you've ever loved, is just a temporary glitch in a reality that wasn't asked for and won't be remembered when the last star flickers out and the nothing takes it all back. So, there you have it. 10 ways to feel completely insignificant. Whether we are a byproduct of a black hole, a line of code in a simulation, or a random fluctuation in a vacuum, one thing remains true. You are here, right now, on a small rock orbiting a giant ball of fire in a universe that could technically end at any second. Go grab a coffee, hug someone you care about, or just stare at the sky and tell yourself, at least I gotta be a part of this grand, logical error. See you in the next day on. Or not. Probably not.